Welcome to Smart Business Show. Today we're going to answer a question that I found off Quora, which says, what operating system should I use, macOS or Linux, or macOS, Linux, or Windows? And for a freelancer, it really depends. It depends on the software, really, in many ways. It depends on if you need Photoshop, then you're Mac or Windows. There's no Linux there, so you just have to use Photoshop. Now, there are some alternatives, especially in Macland. Pixelmator's been really good for me. I've loved it. I haven't had Photoshop in probably a year and a half, maybe longer, maybe 2 years now. Anyways, and it's been perfectly fine to stay away without it. But if you need Illustrator, any of the Adobe suite, then you're on Mac or Windows. That's your only option. Now, if you use a lot of Unix apps, like Terminal, stuff like that, then your really options are Mac and Linux. Those are your two main options. But I actually think this brings up an even bigger question, and that is a desktop operating system really the best choice for you? I'm writing about this coming up, but I'm not convinced it is. I don't think that a desktop operating system, especially multi-screen setups, really help you get the most amount of valuable work done. Now, a lot of studies talk, especially about two monitors, how two monitors are better than one. And they say basically what they do is they give you some data and they give you a spreadsheet, and you got to enter the data into the spreadsheet, and that's it. And you go into the lab and you do this, and that's great. Of course, I actually think that's totally faster, but that's not how most people live. What they've got is one main screen, then maybe a second screen, maybe even a third screen. And they've got that main screen with their work, and they've got a third screen with whatever, not necessarily that other data. I used to have it more with development and development docs off to the side, but really I don't actually. What I kept finding is that I didn't really have that a lot. What I had most often was Slack or some other thing over there that was just space filled. And with this blank screen sitting, I keep pointing to my side because that's where my screen was, off on my right. But often that screen on my laptop screen, instead of my big 24-inch monitor in front of me, I'm finding this blank space and keep wanting to, something just has to go there. I need some other space there. And it would continue to distract me and make it so I just didn't get a lot of good work done. And so I moved over to iOS. I am 90% iOS. There's some recording when I'm doing podcasts for other people where they want me to record locally as well. And then I can't really do that on iOS. So I don't. I do that on my Mac. And one or two other things that simpler. Sometimes I'll let my Mac run in the background, like I'm actually working on iOS and my Mac is moving files around or something else in the background. There's a few things that I use macOS for. When I do video courses for Asian Efficiency, for their dojo or their membership club, I end up doing all the work right up to the final screen recording on my iPad. And then I go over to Mac because they use ScreenFlow for their standards. So that's where all the transitions are set up and everything. So I do that there. But I do Keynote on my iPad, do the writing on my iPad, do the audio recording, editing on my iPad, and then I record the screen at the last minute on my Mac and put it all together. That's it. So I think that, I feel that, because I'm going to write about this, that an iOS system or a tablet system, well, I'm using iOS because that's what I use, is more productive because of the constraints that it has. So right now, if I was on a Mac, I could be video recording this and I could have Slack off to the side and be distracted. But right now, I can't. I've got my phone right in front of me. You see my hand flash by. I've got my phone right in front of me with my notes, and all I've got right here is that. That's it. I've got my phone with some notes, and I've got my iPad that I'm recording on. Once I'm done this, I will run the audio through some stuff, and then I'll be done. So I think this is just a more focused environment. I think that a traditional desktop operating system is really not the most productive thing you can do. Now we need to go to iOS. Thanks for watching.